And what is the big news out of the Democratic National Convention? Breaking news this morning. The rain is forcing President Obama indoors. Democrats just announced this morning that President Obama is scheduled to make his speech on Thursday night in an outdoor arena, stadium, 65,000 seats. Just going to move it indoors. Apparently the rain, the forecast on Thursday has scared him off. Moving it indoors, moving it to the Time Warner Cable Arena where everything else is going on down there. So that is the news this morning. A little change of venue. Doesn't change the plans, just changes the venue. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Markets Hub. We never change our venue here. I am Paul Vigna, and we're starting with convention coverage. We're going down to Charlotte. Peter Nicholas is here to talk to us about the Vice President, Joe Biden, his speech coming up right before President Obama on Thursday night. Peter, how you doing? Glad you could take a few minutes to be with us. What do we expect out of Vice President
Good to be
Biden?
with you, Paul.
Thank you. What do we expect out of the Vice President?
Well, Vice President Biden will talk about the partnership that he's forged with President Obama over the last 4 years. He'll try to take listeners sort of inside the White House, show how the president makes decisions, try to present sort of a more personal side of the president. We've had 4 years of partisanship in Washington where the president has been battered somewhat. Vice President Biden will try to show that there's sort of a human side to President Obama that most Americans have not seen. How he makes choices, how he prioritizes, how he sets an agenda. So I spoke to one of his aides who said the goal is to show people, not tell people. So expect a lot of personal anecdotes, personal detail. For reporters like myself, it should be fascinating.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting, when Biden was first named back in 2008, everyone kind of thought that the idea was that he was the older, almost father figure that would present a little gravitas to Obama. But their relationship has evolved over those 4 years, hasn't it?
Exactly right. About 4 years ago, I talked to one of Biden's aides who said, look, they had the marriage before they had the honeymoon. I mean, they didn't really know each other all that well in the Senate. And they forged this partnership, and neither one was really sure of what the other's values were, goals were, but politically it made sense for them at the time. So their relationship has had to build and evolve, and it has. And Biden has now become one of President Obama's most trusted aides. He has a wide portfolio. He's one of the main liaisons to Congress. He talks to Republican Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He is involved in foreign policy. He been to Afghanistan and Iraq repeatedly, trying to help push forward the administration policy, winding down those wars. So there's sort of Republicans have tried to paint him as something of as a figure who is prone to gaffes and misstatements and verbal missteps, but he's actually plays a very serious role in this administration, and that point will probably be emphasized in tomorrow's speech.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I don't know if you almost don't know if they're gaffes so much as him just really going off the cuff, and the guy just kind of speaking from off the top of his head. Sometimes they don't work so well. What are the chances we get a moment like that on Thursday night?
I would say none. These speeches are pretty well scripted. He'll be reading off a teleprompter. He's not going to be winging it. So I don't think we're going to see any misstatements tonight. But it's interesting about the whole issue of gaffes. I talked to one of his former aides who said, look, you know, we want politicians to be authentic. We want them to be genuine. So when Joe Biden does that and occasionally speaks his mind or speaks from the heart and he's not exactly on message, then he's blamed for it. So they feel it's sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation.
Right. I guess we got our off-script crazy old man moment last week. Now, how will this speech be compared and contrasted to the vice presidential nominee, Paul Ryan's speech? I mean, there will be some compare and contrast there, won't there?
Well, there will be, yes. I mean, there's going to be a visual contrast. And look, I mean, to some degree, the Republicans feel they have an advantage here. That Paul Ryan is he's a young, vigorous guy. He has not been a creature of Washington for as many years as Joe Biden. They think that might play to their advantage. Biden will try to show that, look, he is every bit the equal of Paul Ryan in terms of substantive policy. Paul Ryan has put forward a conservative budget blueprint. Biden may well try to take that on in his speech, try to talk about the president's agenda, the president's budget, why he feels it's a superior solution for the sour economy. So there will be a lot of contrasts. Biden will try to show that, look, he's no slouch. He's a polished speaker. He's run for president twice. He's been a former Senate Foreign Relations Chairman, former Senate Judiciary Chairman, and that he is more than a match for Paul Ryan.
Yeah. All right, we have to leave it there. Peter Nicholas, thank you. Appreciate you taking a few minutes to spend with us here. Tonight, 9 p.m., we will be covering the DNC live here at WSJ. You can see us on WSJ.com, obviously, also on YouTube, Hulu, on, I mentioned WSJ, didn't I? And all our other platforms. Starting at 9 live, Alan Murray. Big speakers tonight, Elizabeth Warren running for the Senate up in Massachusetts, and former President Bill Clinton